Nancy and Stephanie, I want to go back because one thing I find so extraordinary, and you'll remember that I was covering Harry and Meghan's time in the royal family and when they returned to the UK very closely. But it shocks me how far the mainstream media still remain.
Did Prince Harry and Meghan Markle secretly wear recording devices during a royal event? This explosive claim is lighting up the internet, and today, we're diving deep into the truth behind the headlines. Buckle up. This one's wild.
From the depths that these two sunk to. And Nancy, it was actually a post from you that sparked this in my mind again, where you wrote, and you've got the video to prove it. Remember that time Harry wore a mic to his grandma's, Her Majesty the Queen's funeral. Hashtag Prince Harry is a traitor. And I wanted to talk to you about this because I actually think it's an indictment on the royal rota that they have never decided to go there when it comes to the secret recording that Harry and Meghan appeared to do, not just during their time in the royal family, but also when they returned. And I know because I was speaking to people close to Prince William and King Charles at the time, and they were deeply, deeply concerned. For example, at the Sandringham summit, do you remember that was in the days after Megxit, where the late Queen really laid down the law and said, no more, no half and half, you're either out or you're in, knowing that they would be out. Now, I know for a fact that the advisors, the courtiers, had warned the principals, do not allow Meghan Markle to come on the phone because she will be recording it. And they knew that she was working on a deal with Netflix even then. They knew she was working on an interview with Oprah even then. But why do you think it's been left to independent journalists and commentators like us to sometimes point out what actually the naked eye could see? Like the guy and Meghan has been covered in wires.
Let's get into it. It all started with a blurry photo and a wild theory. Social media detectives pointed out what looked like a bulge under Meghan's dress and a strange object inside Harry's jacket pocket during a recent royal gathering.
I mean, Dan, that's the $64,000 question. It's really sad and weird how the British press didn't talk about it. She even wore a mic, and him wore a mic to the Thanksgiving
we sort
service.
of have to ask the question: is King Charles protecting Harry?
Yeah,
we sort of have to ask that over and over again because no one else would get away with this. We have to remember, at the Queen's funeral, Meghan was the only woman who was not allowed to carry a clutch or a purse. But she was the only one.
Yeah,
everyone else had clutches. Had their purses.
In our opinion, they were like nothing. You can't carry
had nothing.
anything.
She had nothing on her. You know, they probably patted her down or something.
I
really go back to his dad. I really do.
I really don't know why they do it. It's just so obvious that they were mic'd many times. God, you know, I didn't think you'd stump me, Dan, but it's puzzling. It is puzzling.
It is.
That they keep it. What is, I mean.
Well, because the mainstream media has covered it. So, for example, during this trip, where he was obviously filming for Netflix, that's when the mainstream media have gone there and have covered it. But I think the fear is that it's almost like they're accusing Harry and Meghan of doing something if they talk about it during their time in the royal family. But the fact is, we knew that they were recording for Netflix. We knew that they tried to get some type of publicity shoot with the late Queen Elizabeth II and Lilibet, which Her Majesty the Queen turned down because she wasn't prepared to be a pawn in their game.
She knew exactly what was happening during the Jubilee. And the fact that they then didn't go to the concert that night, it was because they were upset that she wouldn't take a picture with them. That's what it had to do with. And plus, Meghan is monetizing those kids. She's getting ready, in our opinion, to monetize her children. So the less they're photographed.
Let's try it after.
The easier it is to then get more money for their, you know, she's putting a bounty on the children's head currently by keeping them like, you know, half their arm here, their hand here. And it's just a form of monetization.
But also it's like we go back to also, sorry, I hate to bring up King Charles, but do you ever think like Harry ever had a conversation maybe with him and said, listen, Dad, I got $100 million deal from Netflix. You know, this is going to keep us afloat. Do you ever think like maybe King Charles was just like, okay, go do your thing?
You wear a mic at your grandmother's funeral?
No. I'm just saying. Well, I'm just saying that obviously he wore a mic. We all saw it. The king saw it. Prince William saw it.
They knew.
Yeah. Princess Catherine saw it.
Well, they knew. And this is the thing. I have got so much reporting on this actually, and I tried to put as much of it out at the time. But for example,
you did great.
Yeah, and that's why. Do you remember in Harry's book, he recounts the scene after Prince Philip's funeral, and it's that meeting where they have the big row, right? And the reason that Charles and William on that trip would never meet with Harry on their own is because they knew that Harry would twist their words and then use their words for his book. So even though he did that, I guess their thinking was, well, we've got to at least be able to protect each other. Because if Harry tries to claim, for example, that we said something racist about Meghan, then William and Charles were able to back each other up. But how awful that is the depths of the relationships that it had plumbed.
Instantly, rumors exploded. Were they wearing recording devices? Some claimed it was a wire, others said it was just fabric bunching. But in the court of public opinion, especially online, facts rarely come first.
I mean, it's awful. I was watching, and it was such a great episode. Oh my gosh, when you had Narinda and Lady C on.
Oh God.
And Narinda was
People
exactly.
hated that, guys.
Give us 5 minutes with her, please. Give us 5 minutes.
I'd love to watch that. Please have her on your channel. That would be
God,
so
I
good
wish.
to watch.
I don't think she would do it because we would just be like on her.
Dan, that was such a great episode.
So good. But when she said, what did Meghan Markle lie about in the Oprah interview? Automatically, she lied about the naming, the styling Archie as a prince. She said, well, they didn't do it because of his skin color. She needs to retract that because, listen, not all Americans who were watching that at the time in 2020 during the height of George Floyd, they thought that, oh my gosh, she didn't give them titles? No, it's because you have to wait for Prince Charles at the time to become king in order for those kids to have titles. That needs to get retract. And I don't understand why more people, more even American publications don't say, yeah, she freaking lied.
Yeah, well, I think there is a reckoning coming because, of course, we saw after With Love, Meghan that they no longer have any support, even from the liberal, the left-wing media. I mean, it made me laugh when you've got the San Francisco Chronicle even saying that this is complete rubbish. But you're right, the MSM have to go and do their job and hold them to account for all of the lies that were told at the time. Certainly people like me were calling them out for it. But at that point, people like me were still described as some sort of racist hater against Meghan, which is just totally ludicrous. I only ever wanted the truth reported. That's it. I didn't mind if the truth was positive about Meghan or Harry or negative about Harry and Meghan. I just knew the truth had to be reported. And no one... remember, at the early days of her time in the royal family was prepared to report that truth because they were so scared, guys, of being called racist. So she capitalized on that George Floyd hysteria, on the Black Lives Matter hysteria. But you're right. Everyone should go back now and say, hang on a moment. Actually, it's not good enough for Harry going into a softball interview with Tom Bradby and gaslighting the world by saying, oh, no, we never accused anyone of racism. It's like, you did. We know you did. And you've now got to admit that you got it wrong.
But I actually tweeted about this, X'd it last night. And I said the racist MAGA theory that the Sussex squad has brought upon all of us is gone. It's gone.
because there's more of us. And I say Nancy and myself as being liberal girls from the West Coast of America who voted for Hillary. Ooh. But we also can't stand Harry and Meghan. Like, they're wrong. They lied. And Nancy and I respect the monarchy. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. There's more of us than there are of Rosie O'Donnell's,
Yeah.
Well, indeed.
So get used to it.
And I'm sorry, look at Taylor Swift, still supported Kamala Harris, but also backed William and Catherine over Meghan and Harry.
And that's what they can't stand. See, Meghan is upset because we're her demographic. We're the same age. We love following influencer page. We like all this stuff online.
Well, and we're not exactly her age.
Well, no, you know what I mean. But like, we're her demographic. And we've completely turned on her. So did you see the La Creuset drama going on right now?
Oh, the pot.
The pot? Have you seen that, Dan?
Oh, yes. What do you make of it?
Let's talk logistics. Royal events are heavily secured. Attendees go through multiple layers of security, and that includes senior royals like Harry and Meghan. If someone were wearing a wire, it would be extremely difficult to go unnoticed.
Well, it's so stupid because Meghan is trying to make it look like people like us, anyone who has an opinion out there about her Netflix show, who has ever said, wow, that show sucks, because it does suck, is racist because we don't believe Black women can have a soft life. We don't believe Black women can have nice things. Nice things. That's the narrative now.
I got so angry when I read that article, and luckily I had P. Diner on that day. And obviously P. Diner is a Black woman. And she's like, what? This is completely nuts. Now, I also want to show you some great work that the Royal Grift has done on this whole idea that Meghan Markle is just lying, point blank lying, about all of these jobs, which, like, no one can remember her working in. No one worked alongside her at the store. There's no pictures of any of this. But look, they've put together a great compilation. Watch this. Now, again, let me stress, if this were an ordinary person, right, with a track record of being honest about their lives, I would give them the benefit of the doubt. But given we know this woman is a compulsive, pathological liar who has lied about her upbringing, lied about her dad, lied about being a latchkey kid, lied about the food that she ate, isn't it weird that no one really knows about these jobs and there's no pictures?
Didn't she say she also worked when she was in Fiji? She did a speech, and she said she worked during college to pay for her books.
Total lie.
At Northwestern. But
total lie.
If Meghan worked,
her dad paid for all of that, by the way.
Yes.
Oh, of course.
If Meghan worked at Humphrey Yogurt at age 13, Humphrey Yogurt would have been closed down because they would be breaking a major law. You cannot hire anybody under 18. I don't know what she was talking about there.
Yeah.
Humphrey Yogurt at 13.
Well, we come back to the schizophrenic brand where she's just making things up.
Do you think maybe she's just trying to like be whimsical on her show, but the made up stories, it's really obvious. And you could tell when she's lying. She has this way of saying it.
She fidgets.
And she kind of looks down a little bit.
Like moves herself.
Yeah, like you could tell when she's lying, but it's hilarious. I mean, now I'm thinking like, what will we do without Meghan Markle in the zeitgeist? I hope she doesn't go away. I mean, because to Americans now, it's such a joke that we enjoy it. We laugh at the clown, she's like a clown now to us. So it's funny.
I really noticed that, guys. I mean, look, of course you have the likes of Drew Barrymore who are still in her pocket. But, all of these Netflix comedians, commentators on both sides of the aisle, like something has changed in America, right? It's like you've woken up, finally, to what we knew a few years ago.
And here's the kicker. Recording a royal without consent could spark an international scandal, not just tabloid fodder. So, did they actually wear recording devices? Right now, there's no solid evidence.
Yeah, which is interesting because now President Trump has woken us up, which is interesting. The words.
I don't think it has anything to do with politics. I think people just had enough of it. And, I think it started with the misogyny stuff and the racism stuff, and it just kept getting pushed and pushed and pushed. And finally people were like, no, we're not going to do this. Stop. This is over. We're done. And unfortunately, that's where Meghan still lives. That's her only way of, she has to play the victim. If she doesn't play the victim, she's nobody.
But Dan and Nancy, we've given her 5 years.
Yes.
5 years.
Exactly. 5 years to prove herself. Time and again. She had
That's a long
opportunity
time,
after opportunity.
Dan.
I know. And the fact is, all of these people wanted it to work right. I mean, I remember speaking to someone at Spotify, very senior at Spotify, in the early days of the deal. And I could see in their face it wasn't working out. It was a bit like, yeah, okay, maybe you're right. Maybe this is difficult. But they still wanted it to work because that put millions into it. That built a studio in her goddamn house, But the problem is, someone like that who is so entitled, living in such a fantasy world, it just actually is never going to bear fruit. And I want to play you guys a couple of other little moments to get your reaction, because don't you think Spare by the day looks ever more ridiculous? And specifically the moment where Harry is trying to paint Meghan as some type of fairy godmother who everyone just loved working with, even though now we of course know that the American staff members have also complained about the bullying, have also described her as a dictator in high heels. And I just think it is worth listening back. I'm not going to play much. Don't worry. You're not going to have to put up with much. But just to sort of understand how ludicrous these claims now look. I mean, how on earth can
he didn't write that.
I mean, she probably wrote it, right? She probably wrote it.
He doesn't think, though. He doesn't think. He
didn't write that at all. And the freebies thing, that's not a word he would normally use.
But like you two, I don't know. Have you ever been in a relationship where you're trying to sell your partner?
No, I haven't, because I'm not crazy.
No, I'm just saying, but it's like he's trying to sell her.
Yeah.
To the world.
It's like all the friends hate this person who you're dating because they know that they're really, really bad for you. But you have to go to the boys' dinner and sort of be like, no, seriously, she is really nice. She's really, really nice. She gives me gifts.
That's what I'm saying. You're trying to sell something unsellable.
Totally. And also, can I just say, as a very rich person, you are not excused by bribing staff members with products which, by the way, you've largely got for free. He's literally admitting that. Or is some type of deal, right, where you've got like the ice cream and sweet guy coming in. That does not excuse you bullying your staff to the point of rehab. And the fact that Harry is trying to justify that while remaining on the board of Better Up blows my mind on a daily basis. But I wanted to move on to the Freedom Flight, because do you know, it is 5 years, guys, since the Freedom Flight. And again, I think it's just fascinating looking back at how he tried to present this move from Canada to Los Angeles.
It's just theories, speculation, and a lot of internet imagination. But it raises a bigger question: how much do we really know about what goes on behind palace walls? Maybe that's the reason these rumors catch fire in the first place. What do you think? Drop a comment below. Do you believe the Wire theory, or is it just tabloid drama at its finest? I'm reading all of them. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay curious, stay sharp, and stay skeptical.